Welcome to the 15th discussion of The Smart World Around Us, a series organized by Smart-EDU Hub. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest challenges facing us right now, the absolutely explosive growth of our cities.
That's right, and we're going to be exploring this through an incredible article by Catalin Vrabier. It really gets to the heart of the matter, asking this huge question. As our cities are just ballooning at this incredible rate, how do we make them not just bigger, but actually smarter for the people who live there?
And for those of you who want to get into the nitty-gritty, and we really do recommend it, you can find a direct link to the full article in the description below this explainer. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the sheer scale of this urban explosion. Then we'll ask, what really makes a city smart? After that, we'll see some smart cities in action, dig into the system of systems theory behind it all, and finally, we'll lay out the absolute keys to success.
Okay, first up, the urban explosion. And to really get our heads around this, we have to appreciate the sheer scale of what we're facing. This isn't just a trend, it's a massive global shift. The world is literally moving to the city, and it is happening fast.
Yeah, and the article kicks off with a number that it stops you in your tracks. By 2050, a whopping 66%, that's 2/3 of all people on Earth, will be living in cities. We're talking billions and billions of people. And this isn't some far-off prediction. It's happening as we speak.
And here's where it gets really mind-boggling. Look at this. Cities take up just a tiny sliver of the Earth's surface, only 2%. But they're responsible for 80% of all energy use and a massive 75% of CO2 emissions. So you have this incredible concentration of people, and with it, this immense pressure on our resources and our planet.
And this wave of urbanization isn't happening everywhere equally, not even close. The article points out that a staggering 95% of all this future growth is going to be in developing countries, especially across Asia and Africa. So think about that. The most intense pressure is being put on the very places that often have the fewest resources to cope.
So, okay, we have this enormous problem, and right on cue, this term smart city pops up as the big solution. But what does that even mean? Because let's be honest, it's a term that gets thrown around a lot. It's got to be more than just a buzzword, right?
Well, the article gives us this perfect example from Rio de Janeiro that really shows the two different ways you can think about this. On one side, you've got the top-down approach. Think big, expensive, high-tech, like IBM's multi-million-dollar city operations center. Then you have the complete opposite, the bottom-up approach. An amazing initiative where local youth just used kites and smartphones to map out the slums themselves. Totally different philosophies.
But, this road to becoming smart is absolutely full of pitfalls. The article really warns about this. It's so easy to just throw technology at a problem for technology's sake, or to see a cool project somewhere else and try to just copy-paste it into your own city. There's this dangerous belief that sensors and apps are some kind of magic wand, and they're just not.
Exactly. And that brings us to the core idea here. Being smart isn't really about having the fanciest tech. It's about being resilient. The Rockefeller Foundation defines it as a city's ability to survive, adapt, and grow no matter what gets thrown at it, whether that's a chronic stress like inequality or a sudden shock like a hurricane. It's all about building a city that can bend without breaking.
Okay, so let's make this real. We're going to look at a concrete example from Brașov, Romania, to see how these ideas actually work on the ground. It's a really cool case study of how to build a smart system that's practical and really puts citizens first.
So, look how this works in Brașov. It's beautifully simple. You, as a citizen, see a problem, a pothole, a busted streetlight, whatever. You report it. That signal goes to a central hub, which then sends the right people out to fix it. But here's the game changer. You, the citizen, can actually track the status of your request on an interactive map. It's simple, it's transparent, and it totally empowers people.
And that example from Brașov gets at a much deeper concept, which is so important. You have to understand that a city isn't like a machine where you can just fix one broken part. No, a city is more like a living, breathing organism. Everything is connected.
The author uses a famous idea to explain this, the butterfly effect. You know the one. A butterfly flaps its wings and sets off a tornado somewhere else. The point is, in a complex system like a city, one tiny change, even a change you think is for the better, can have huge, totally unexpected consequences that spread everywhere.
And here's a perfect example of that. Let's say a city decides, hey, let's close down small local clinics and build a few big centralized super hospitals. On paper, that seems more efficient. But what happens next?
Well, now more people have to drive longer distances. That creates more traffic, more pollution, and the final outcome? The overall public health of the city actually gets worse, the exact opposite of what you wanted.
So that's the big takeaway here. City departments just can't operate in their own little bubbles. A city is a system of systems. The transit department's decisions affect public health. The health department's decisions affect the economy. Everything is interconnected. You can't fix one piece without thinking about the whole puzzle.
Okay, so if cities are this complicated, this tangled web of systems, how on earth do you build a smart city strategy that actually works? How do you avoid accidentally making things worse?
Well, the article is crystal clear about the number one thing not to do. The single biggest mistake cities make is starting with the tech. They get wowed by some new app or a network of sensors. But a successful smart city project never starts there. It always starts with the citizens.
And that leads us to this really clear 5-part framework for getting it right. And I want you to look very closely at what's at the absolute top of the list. Number 1, citizens. Everything has to revolve around them. Once you have that locked in, then you can talk about the technical infrastructure, new ideas, a clear strategy, and making sure everyone can be a part of it.
And holding all of that up are 3 core principles that are basically non-negotiable. First, whatever you do has to be sustainable. Second, you should use open data whenever possible. And third, and this is a big one, you have to protect people's privacy and be ethical every single step of the way.
So this really leaves us with one big question to think about for our own communities. The question isn't, what cool new technology should my city buy? The real question is, how can my city, where I live, do a better job of putting its citizens right at the center of its future?
It's a huge topic for sure, but it's one that really does affect every single one of us. That's all the time we have for today's discussion.
We hope you enjoyed it. We invite you to like and subscribe to the Smart-EDU Hub channel so you'll be the first to know about our new explainers. And remember, the link to the full article can be found in the description below. Goodbye!